The buzzword right now is AI, right? But like, how do you actually go apply this? That's what this guy does. So let's introduce him.
Welcome, Mr. Matt Leitz, to the program. Matt, what up, man?
What up? What's going on, fellas?
Why the internet? Like, what got you started clicking a mouse?
Oh my gosh. Do you want me to drop the real story?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And the funny thing is these guys told me at the beginning, like, don't feel like you have to be all prim and proper when you get on here.
You knew that wasn't the problem. You're literally
I'm going to tell a story. I don't think I've ever told this story publicly, but they asked you, the question was, how did you first get on the internet? I'm going to give you the honest truth, okay? When I was in college, I was participating in extracurricular activities.
It wasn't underwear modeling, was it?
All right. That was a very short story. Thanks a lot. You ruined the whole thing. All right.
Welcome to ClickFunnels Radio, the podcast that brings you the latest strategies, insights, and success stories from online marketers just like you who utilize funnels to grow their business. Our mission is simple: to help you unleash the true potential of your online business by harnessing the power of funnels. Join us every week as we bring you exclusive interviews and thought-provoking discussions that will revolutionize the way you approach online marketing. Here are your hosts, Chris Cameron and Ben Harris.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of ClickFunnels Radio. It's me, Ben, back with another amazing episode and an even better guest today from someone who is really carving out a sector of this industry and not only setting out his own path, but completely revolutionizing the way and revolutionizing customer experience and a lot of other things I'm excited to dive into. But before we introduce our guest, I have to introduce Mr. Chris Cameron, who's here co-hosting today. Chris, what is up, dude?
What is up, my friend? We're recording a few of these today, but I'm super excited for this one because this is a guy we go way back. He's been in the industry, knows everybody, doing some crazy cool stuff. The buzzword right now is AI, right? But like, how do you actually go apply this? That's what this guy does. So let's introduce him.
Welcome, Mr. Matt Leitz, to the program. Matt, what up, man?
What up? What's going on, fellas?
I'm doing well, and we appreciate your time. I'm excited to dive into a lot of stuff and even hear about your journey, as a lot of our listeners are incredibly, one, they admire you and love kind of hearing your backstory, what you've learned, what it's taken for you to get to this point. And one thing that I'm super intrigued about, with even getting to dive, I've known you for a while, but even diving further into, your path to success, why the internet? Like, what got you started clicking a mouse?
Oh my gosh. Do you want me to drop the real story?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And the funny thing is these guys told me at the beginning, like, don't feel like you have to be all prim and proper when you get on here.
You knew that wasn't the problem. You're literally
I'm going to tell a story. I don't think I've ever told this story publicly, but they asked you, the question was, how did you first get on the internet? I'm going to give you the honest truth. Okay. When I was in college, I was, participating in extracurricular activities.
It wasn't underwear modeling, was it?
All right. That was a very short story. Thanks a lot. You ruined the whole thing. All right. I was billboards everywhere and, it blew up. But I was smoking stuff that's now legal, but then wasn't legal. And I had this idea that hit me, right? And I don't know if anybody on here knows, because I know you have a very straight laced listening crowd here. But when you have the end of a certain kind of cigarette, they call it a roach, and to hold this thing, they call it a roach clip. And I had this brilliant idea. I was like, what if we took a toy cockroach, a little toy bug, and we put a clip on it, and it was actually a roach clip, right? So I went out and the very next day I went to the store. Brilliant, right? So I went to the store and I got a little cockroach and I got a clip. And then I thought to myself, this is actually a roach clip. What if I went to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and tried to trademark this word? And lo and behold, I applied for a trademark and I get a phone call. Her name was like Gertrude. I remember it like it was yesterday. I'm sitting there, and normally the trademark office does not call you, right? Like,
like, dude, this is illegal, right?
Yeah, no, this is the way the call went, right? She's like, Matt, as an examining attorney at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Usually we don't make phone calls, but I had to let you know I've been working here for 25 years, and this is the most hilarious thing I have ever seen. The entire office is talking about it, and there's literally no person here that can come up for one good reason of why we cannot give you the trademark for the word roach clip. So I trademarked the word roach clip. So now here I am, right? I got this cool little novelty product. I own the word roach clip. But I'm like, what am I going to do with this thing, right? So I go out, and this is in, I don't even know, maybe it was the 2000. I mean, it was like early on, like early in the game. And I went and I acquired the domain roachclip.com for $350. All right.
No.
And that is how I got into the internet game. Now, fast forward, I failed in that business, and failed in the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. But yes, that silly little idea to put a cockroach and a clip together, roachclip.com, is how I got into the internet game. So
this is wild, Matt, because you bring up something, dude, that I think maybe something that's inherent to like successful entrepreneurs. One, they're able to like just come up with these ideas, and then they don't care, meaning that they're not scared to fail, or maybe they are, but they'll just get over it. And then they fail again. And so they're so resilient. Yeah. And so that's what makes, like, if you just fail enough, that qualifies you for success. It's like the best university ever. Like, is that something that's inherently with you, or is that something that you have to like work with all the time? Like, well, crap, that didn't work.
I think I was just born a natural failure, frankly.
No, that's what I mean.
No, I'm just messing with you. No, but truth be told, I failed in roachclip.com not once, but twice. And if you go there today, I still own the domain. There's nothing there. Right. And I'm very, honestly, I didn't tell that story for a long time because it was this thing that was so, there's so much judgment out there. But, now it's practically legal. So here it is. You heard it first right here on ClickFunnels Radio. But that was certainly not the last failure. I'll tell you another quick one. I decided years ago, and I don't know if this is a video podcast or not. Oh,
yeah, we'll have some video comments for sure.
All right. So right now my stand for my laptop is my board game called Don't Be a Loser. So I invented a board game, and I was so excited about it.
That's awesome.
Passion. Yeah. I mean, just like found this thing that I loved. And, there's a lot of people that invent a lot of board games, and I was struggling. I just couldn't get, I felt like I was going to, conventions like, sir, will you play my board game? I just wasn't getting anywhere. And so,
not weird at all. Will you come over here? Let's sit down for a minute.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, man, I got to make a move. And by this time, I'd had a couple successes. I have made a few dollars. People are like, why am I this guy if all he does is lose? But I'd made a little money. And so I creatively acquired the domain boardgames.com. So I was like, who the heck could fail with boardgames.com? This guy.
No way.
But it failed. Yeah. Cause there's a lot of lessons. You got to know your numbers. There's a lot of things that I learned, but I will share this because I think this could inspire some people. The cool thing about domains is they're just like anything else in the world. Like, I'm in a commercial building here that we bought, we bought a, really cool house. Anything that you can acquire, you can do so creatively and on terms, right? So here I am, this guy with this board game struggling, and I go to boardgames.com, and it was the worst website ever. And I saw that this guy's like trying to, to this guy, I shouldn't say that. That was kind of mean. It was an underutilized asset. All right, we'll say that. And I just could look at it, and I'm looking at his traffic, and I'm looking at how he's converting, and I'm like, he's making about $450 a month or something on that. It's like not making revenue. And I track the guy down, and I'm just like, look, man, here's my vision. Here's my track record. Here's what I can do. And I made a deal with him that was basically, I think it was $500 a month plus a percentage of board game sales, right? So for $500, I got into boardgames.com. And all of a sudden, I went from that guy that's like holding my board game to being like showing up like, yo, what's up? Oh, you got my seat at the table. Thank you very much. Right. So it was just that kind of reminder that it's like, when you think outside the box, you see something, if you can make a creative deal that is a win-win, you can make things happen, and you can make those kind of quantum leaps. Because I think that, the beautiful thing about ClickFunnels and all these programs is like, it gives people this ability to finally have this consistent thing that allows for growth and this predictable thing. But I can't stress enough that in business, so many times it's about these breakthroughs. It's about these things that are just like chugging along, chugging along, chugging along, strategic partnership, bam, acquisition, bam, and I just, I really would kind of challenge people to think outside of the box like that, and step back and go, man, I'm in this industry. I need to get, I need to do this thing. What is the move that I can make, that's going to help me get there and kind of give me that jump that I'm looking for.
God, I love that. Especially with, and even you could also call it being resourceful or something, you know what I mean? Where it's like thinking outside the box, flipping something on its head. Cause even this is not about me. We're not going to dive into my past, but there's been so many times where you've had no favors, no connections, no nothing, but you just do something off the wall. That's like, that worked. Totally. Tell us, what's the most recent way where you've had to do something like that that's worked out in your benefit?
Well, I mean, it's, I don't know, yesterday. I mean, it's always something, right?
This morning.
Yeah. Wow. So right outside of my door. So we have this building and we're busting at the seams because we're, remodeling the second floor right now. So right outside of my door is, what I believe, you can hear me. So I'm saying this extra loud, an absolutely brilliant, technology mind. Right. And we're just sitting there and we're trying to build, some really cool AI stuff, and I'm kind of hitting my head against the wall. And, so here's a talent, and all credit to, my COO, Jeff, who's just like sees me every day. And I think I got a good brain for this stuff, but I'm also, supposed to be the CEO of a company, and I'm I still do the marketing and all these kind of things. And he just goes and literally does a LinkedIn search, and within 24 hours finds this amazing candidate. The reality of it is this guy's acumen and background, we couldn't pay him, he's just, what's my salary expectation? Okay. So only about 3 times more than we can pay you. Cool. All right. But here's the deal, right? It's like, you see this vision or you don't see this vision. If you see this vision, there's enough upside in this thing for everybody, and so I would say one of the things that I've learned to do really well is to create creative compensation packages, so like in the example for him, it's like there's a salary, everybody's got to eat. One thing my dad would always say is you want your people hungry, but you can't have them starving. Right. So there's base salary, and there's also, hey, what's the product that you're delivering? Well, we want monthly recurring revenue. We want, this is the thing that we're trying to generate. So, all right, when we hit these thresholds, this is how you can get paid more. And then, oh yeah, okay, cool. If we end up selling this company someday, this is how you can participate in this thing, and just kind of look at it and just, it's the same thing as the boardgames.com. It's just, you start to realize it's like, I think a lot of times people think that there's these rules. There ain't no rules. You just make them up, and it's a good deal when it's good for me, and it's good for you, and it's good for the world. And as long as you can literally write it on paper, you can put it together and it's a deal. That's it.
I think so many people who are not entrepreneur minded struggle with that though, Matt. Like for you, you've got it. So many people will sit there and they'll wake up in the morning or they'll beat themselves up at night going, well, that's a dumb idea. They have these genius ideas and then they'll say it's dumb. People like you, people like Russell, people like a lot of entrepreneurs will say, oh, well, why not? And it's this fearlessness that happens. So one, is that true with you? And then two, what happens if a person that you are going to hire something might be a genius mind, but they don't see it that way? They have limiting beliefs instead of, let's take this thing to the moon.
I mean,
find the right people.
I appreciate you call me a genius, Chris, but probably more ignorance than genius, right? I mean, and that's not even just the God's honest truth. When we started using chatbots, we were able to land ManyChat as a client using ManyChat as an app, right? Like that's free, you got to be kind of dumb. But the way that we could do that is we were using the software in ways that other people weren't, because I didn't take the time to go learn how am I supposed to do this thing. I was like, you know what, it should do this. And we were using this logic and creating these experiences, that were just so far outside the box. And because of that, Facebook noticed. Next thing you know, Facebook's flying me to Palo Alto, California to show them how we're doing these things. So you know,
man.
it's the thing is you guys are really highlighting the good stuff here, right? But there's also a lot of challenge that comes with that, right? So I've ran my head against the wall a hell of a lot of times. So when you say like, are some people born with it and some people aren't, you know, of course, maybe like anything else, but here's the thing that I will give myself a lot of credit for. And I think back to my early days as an entrepreneur. Okay. And so here I am building roachclip.com. I've never talked about this before, but this is, I can give you guys the full scope of the story.
Get the real scoop here.
You guys are getting it, right? And I just remember sitting down with a mentor of mine, incredible guy. He had a couple of exits, just he gave a lot. I went to the Ohio State University, and he came and spoke, and he took a liking to me. And I'm sitting at breakfast with him, and I was a very slow starter in business. It took me over 2 years to make my first dollar. Like very slow. We didn't have ClickFunnels back then, you know. It makes a difference. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're hiring, you know, anyway, I'm making excuses for myself, but I was just having one of those like moments where it's like kind of having a bit of a pity party, right? And I'm just like, man, like I just, you know, I'm like, honestly, kind of choking back tears a little bit, you know. I'm just like, I'm not getting it. I'm not going. And he just looked at me and he said, Matt, I just got to tell you, it ain't going to get easier. And the reality of it is you're going to do one of two things, right? You're going to give up and quit, or you're going to learn to look at this failure differently, because it's quite possible for you to see these same challenges and have them excite you because you understand and you know that these challenges are a part of the path that's going to get you there, and you learn to truly enjoy them and put a smile on your face. And I can tell you that there's situations and stuff that happens that, like, I mean, we'll be in an event and stuff just blows up, right? And I'm just like laughing and dealing with the problem while everybody else is like ripping their hair out and freaking out. And I'm like, I'm smiling and I'm like, here you go.
Like, this is Tuesday, man. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it ain't no thing, right? So it's so much of it is kind of getting that, and I think it's the thing that doesn't get talked about a lot, you know, is the sort of the attitude when I'm evaluating people, right? And I'm sitting down and like, you know, is this person the right person, or is this person doing a good job? I only look at three things. I look at their attitude, I look at their ability, and their effort. That's it, right? Like, you know, how what's their energy, you know, like how are they feeling about it? Are they coming to work with a smile, right? Their ability. And I say their ability because I'm not even talking about their skills today. I'm talking about their aptitude, their ability to learn something, right?
Potential.
That's intelligence. Yeah. It's the difference between being intentional, being intelligent, and being smart. Right. Like I was not smart. Nobody's smart when they start a business. You're not smart. You're not. But if you're intelligent, you can figure this stuff out. Right. So that means you've got the ability. Right. And then finally, the effort. And people talk about the effort a lot. Like, it's this big hustle culture and all this kind of stuff. But they're not talking about the fact that, like, great, you're working your ass off and you're a miserable son of a gun and nobody wants to even, you know, be around you. Like, who gives a damn? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you got to understand how to cultivate that attitude, because then what happens is you like that is like one of the hardest things to teach somebody. Okay. Like he taught me, and it hit me just because I'm by nature have a good attitude. And it woke me up, and I always anchor back to that. And now I'm just, you know, with practice have become really good, but it's hard to get a new person in and be like, let me teach you how to have a good attitude about this. Right. But the thing is about when you've got that sort of spirit about you, and your people just see, like, they see you, like, just like get in the face, and you're like, all right, guys, here we are, let's go, you know? And it just becomes this thing that, like, when your back is against the wall and you got nothing and you got no money and you got no thing, that's when you can, like, be like, yes, like, let's go. Yeah. Like, now I'm like, this is the thing that we're going to look back and you can future cast. And you look and you're like, I can't wait to tell the story on stage of that time when, right? And when you do that and you're in that moment, like the whole world opens up, and you have that sense of clarity that, like, man, you don't know if it's going to be this funnel or that funnel or this ad's going to work, but you now realize that I'm freaking unstoppable and there's nobody that's going to get in my way. And, like, to me, it's like, you probably brought me on here to talk about AI. We haven't even said the words yet. But it's like, I could tell you everything about AI, but you still got to go learn the stuff, and you got to have a bad attitude about it. Don't matter, so you didn't ask me that at all. That was the worst answer.
But this is an incredible answer. Yeah. And I love pulling stories out. Yeah. If I can go one layer deep, because I also do want to get into AI, because what you're doing is freaking incredible. But thanks, you mentioning, these moments sticking with you, right? And you sitting with your mentor from Ohio State, think it's not working. Ben, there's a story Ohio there. State, okay. Okay. Oh, go Buckeyes. Urban Meyer sucks.
I didn't bring
it. Like what story, what was that moment where you're like, there's the story you just mentioned, like one day on stage, I'll be talking about this. Yeah. I want to hear that. And I know our listeners do too.
I have like so many of them. I'll tell you, one of them though was again, we didn't have ClickFunnels, right? So you had to hire developers. So I went through the, hiring and so many different internet ideas. Like, this is why I love AI. AI is like, reminds me the early internet days, right? You got an idea, you just build it and go. Like, it's freaking cool, right? But the story that really sticks out to me is I remember after hiring a local development company, a national development company, hiring a local developer. I mean, I'm just racking up all of my credit cards. I'm so deep. I went to the friends and family and fools, right? Raised money, burnt through their money. And I'm at the point where I finally, I got this little like spark. Like, I found this Russian programmer for $8 an hour that was super smart. And I was like, wow, this is a guy that can do stuff. But I had no money to feed myself, let alone pay this guy. I was out of money. And I'm at this point where I have nothing left to tap into. I've maxed out every credit card, and I'm just like, what do I have? And I, at the time, didn't even have a car. And my little sister, the angel, let me use her old Chevy Lumina, right? This old beater, rusted out. And unfortunately, it broke down and I had no money to fix it, right? So it's just sitting there in front of my little shabby apartment. And I'm like, how am I going to get money to keep this dream alive? Like, I got to go. I can't ask anybody else for money. And I remember that there was this little credit shop. It was like City, whatever, where you could go walk in and get a loan or
super high interest rate place.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Right. So, and it was 5-minute walk down the street. So I walked my happy butt in there, and I never forget this lady. She was just the most like joyous, like big, awesome, just energy. And I was like, hey, here's where I am, and she's like, honey, I want to help you so bad. She's like, the thing is that, like, your credit's horrible. She's like, I need some kind of something, right? I need some sort of asset, some sort of collateral. Like, what do you have? And I'm like, I got my little sister's rusted car that doesn't run. She said, sugar, that'll work, right? And she gave me $1,000 on a car that didn't run, okay, that wasn't even mine, just like wanted to help me. And I took that $1,000 and, I've made millions of dollars since then. So
dang.
Yeah.
That's so cool. What was the first thing? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So dive into that a little bit more, like, because I know people are right there at this point right now listening to this, Matt. And I think that's what's so important is, like, they're sitting there in the apartment. They haven't even walked down to the loan center, and they've got the rusted out thing. What would you, if you get in the DeLorean, go back in time and tell, little Matty Leitz, right? Go tell him, or go tell somebody else who's in that same spot, what advice, now you got a Forbes and an Inc. 5000 plaque behind you. Like, what does that, Matt, tell these people?
Just it'll be worth it, and the thing is that you can't really know until you look back. I didn't end that story the right way. Who gives a damn about how much money that I've made? It's the thing is like, everybody hits their breaking point, right? And the reality of it is most people break, right? And it's okay if you have, like, I've been there. Everybody's been there. Maybe you quit, maybe you come back. And the thing about it is like, was it the thing that I put that $1,000 into that was the thing that made me? No, it wasn't at all. It was the fact that I kept it alive. And the thing is that it is going to change constantly. It's always this, this pivot, this, like, how does board games turn into chatbots? Right. Yeah. Like it changes constantly. But the thing is,
Roach Clip turn into board games, step by step.
It is. That's it. But all that matters is you can't be married to the idea, but you got to be a believer that as long as you don't let the dream die, you're going to get there. And I can tell you this, I have never in my life ever met somebody that's like, you know what? I've been trying with everything I have my entire life as hard as I possibly can and never given up, and I didn't make it. I've never met somebody like that, ever. But you know what I have met is a hell of a lot of people who have stories just like that, but their own version of it, who were at that point of breaking, but kept freaking going.
Yeah.
Right. And then they look back and they go, you know what? That was the best moment of it all. And it was because I had developed that attitude that we talked about earlier, that, that I'm in that moment and I'm laughing with this, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not crying about the fact that I'm like eating ramen noodles. I'm like, I'm freaking Steve Jobs over here, right? Like,
sugar, that'll work.
Right? Like, yeah, that's it. $1,000. All right, sugar, let's go. Like, I will name my first girl after you, whatever it takes. Like, let's go. So, it's just, AI is just another thing. Is it legit? Like, dude, is nothing like it that I've ever seen, but doesn't matter if you ain't going to go all into it.
Yeah, let's dive into that though too. I mean, you built
and start awesome. The podcast.
Yeah. No, this is great, man. I love every second of it. Sometimes that's the stuff that people need to hear too, because it's a motivational thing, man. People, you don't drive across the country, in the dark. The headlights don't reach from LA to New York. They reach just far enough, and you just keep going, man. You just keep going.
I like that.
That's awesome. So now you've come from roach clips to board games to bot builders, right? I'm taking a lot of liberties and jumping here.
Yeah,
but what is it about AI and even this chat thing, like this organic contact and meeting people where they are? Yeah. How did you come up with that? And what are you excited about right now?
So when I invented chatbots, no, I'm just kidding.
What's your chance?
On all honesty, for those where I thought I invented social media, I swear to God, back in the day, and they're like, yeah, have you heard of a thing called Friendster? And I'm like, oh man.
Anyway. Wait, what if it could? They're like, yeah, that is
exactly. You put the pictures in, but so I guess how we got into chatbots, I was not early on. If you guys remember when ManyChat was this like sensation and it was just crazy and everybody's like, Messenger's going to kill email and a whole bunch of stupid stuff, right? This just simply isn't true. I was like, kind of like, all right, no thanks, and in fact, at the time when our marketing department would come to me and like, we need to build a bot, I was like, no, we don't, because I was such a big believer. I was like, we're a customer support company. We win because we take care of people. And I always thought that bots were the opposite of that. I thought it was like, oh, let's phase people out. And really what I realized when I finally got in there, I was like, oh my God, this is like just crazy, because it creates such a connection and experience, like you guys are copywriters, we all live in the email game, and like to me, like a bot, and not a lot of these crappy, like when people think about their like bank bot or like, these are just horrible experiences. Like we create these like multi-dimensional kind of like really like, so imagine like you're writing an email, right? It's like writing copy in 2 dimensions. Imagine you're writing a chatbot. It's like writing copy in 3 dimensions. It's a whole different level of experience. And what we realized is like, of course you can use chatbots to like save a lot of time on things like FAQs or whatever, but we have so many people that use them for like flipping houses and like, getting coaching clients. And like, better coaching their clients that they have. Like, imagine this, okay? You're never going to replace a coach with a chatbot, right? No way. But let's just say you do coaching with a client once every 2 weeks. There's a lot of time in between, right? So what if you could have your chatbot holding somebody accountable, helping them with problems along the way? And then if they're not checking in, or if they're having bad check-ins, it pings the coach so the coach can go check on the client, So what we do is, like, our mission here is we help businesses grow by using automated technology that creates more human connection. That's our mission. So, we really, not even just like the way that we build this stuff is very different, but just fundamentally, like, I hear a lot of people of like, use AI so you can fire your staff. And I'm like, I don't even want you to buy our products, because I have no interest in that world whatsoever. What I have interest in is, let's use AI to empower your team to do better, cooler stuff, and to save time on the stuff that they don't want to do, so they can do more powerful things, and that you can grow your company and then hire more people, right? That's what I want to use AI for. So, I think maybe because we came at the whole thing differently, and we've just, from day one, it's just the whole hype cycle, right? You learn about this, like, and what's going to happen. It might be happening right now. I don't know, but it's just like all this hype about AI, and this is a very long hype cycle, which means this is a pretty big technology. The CEO of Google came out and said that AI is more profound for humanity than fire, electricity, and the internet.
Dang,
Like, okay, he's smarter than all three of us put together. Like, all right, so it's we all know now that it's here, and the question is, what do you do about it? And how do you do it in a way that's going to create a better human experience, not a worse one, not a disconnected one, because that's not something that I'm interested in, and it's like the number one thing I hear is, it's like, well, AI is taking jobs. Well, it's like, it's also creating jobs,
Yes.
great jobs. And
you can just do so much more with the human, right? And the AI combined.
That's it, man. Yeah, absolutely. So we're very small players in this whole thing. Like, for us, we serve small businesses. One of our company values is technology for the people. So we want to make it very approachable, very easy, so that, a plumber or a solarpreneur or anybody can really get in the game. So we're not doing any hardcore, obviously we're all tapping into OpenAI and Stability, these big companies, but we're just making it so that anybody can use it, and use it effectively, and get their desired result while creating a better human experience.
That's nuts. And even, to your point of just creation and adding more stuff, or Sam Altman, I think I heard a quote of saying that he thinks that with OpenAI, it'll be the first $1 billion solopreneur company, or somebody will, like, with the power of AI, be able to. And I'm like, dude, I haven't fully wrapped my brain around it yet. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It's like what I was saying back in the day with the internet, right? Is like, I remember when I took a class. You guys want to hear a crazy story? I've never.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
You guys are like, you guys are getting it out of me. You guys are good. I like this, right? So here's the truth about me. I'm not a technology guy. Like, when it comes to like laptops and phones, and I hate this. I hate it. Like, I struggle to log in. I have to hire somebody just to keep me logged into my stuff, right? I'm really good at like marketing automation and moving boxes around and all those things, but I hate technology. So I'm in college, and I get to this class, and I realize that this class is a computer design class. And I'm like, I don't know, like, not into this, but I come in, I sit down next to this cute girl, and, we start talking, and it turns out that this class was taught by this guy I had no idea was like this famous interface designer, right? Just a very, very just like he's a legend. And anyway, he says that in this class, you can the whole thing comes down to one project, and you have to design either a piece of software or a website. Okay. And you can have a partner to do it. And so this is right about the time that I have this roachclip.com. I just acquired the domain. Like, we're bringing it full circle here, guys. All right. And so I'm like, I tell her the idea. She's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Cause I have no concept of what I want to do with it. Right. And then we go up to him afterwards and we say, hey, this is a little outside the box. And he's like, are you kidding me? This is the greatest idea I've ever heard. Let's do this. Right. So it was the first time. I was not a scholar at all. This is the very first time that I actually built a relationship with a professor, and we're working on this thing. And this is what I loved about this. And this is where I want people's minds to be with AI. Okay. Because there's people like me that'll teach you about this stuff, right? But we're going to give you the box, right? Just remember that this is the time that you could think about anything, right? Like, just come at this thing and just be like, what if, right? And if nobody's doing it, you could literally build it for pennies on the dollar today. It's crazy, right? So I'm in that space, and we're designing this interface for this website, and it's completely like just crazy. Like, and literally the technology is just now getting there today where you could even build something like this, right? But it didn't matter, and he let us think outside the box, and we did this thing and we presented it, and it was just like amazing. It was so cool. And the three of us were like high five, and it was totally amazing. And a week after this class ended, I called the girl who I'd become friends with, and her sister answers the phone, and she's like, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but Beth, died in a car accident last night. And I'm just like, whoa, like, man, like, so crazy. And I wake up the next morning and I go to osu.edu. This is the largest university in the country. On the front page of this website is my professor, Professor Frieden. He passed away the exact same day. And I'm just kind of like, okay, like, this is
Twilight Zone stuff, man. I mean, you feel terrible, but it's also something's going on.
This is Twilight Zone. So that night I'm sitting in my favorite local bar, and I go there by myself. I've never gone to a bar and just sat, but I'm just like in this weird space, and I'm just thinking about this, and out of nowhere, my friend that I haven't seen in forever, right? Oh my gosh, you ready for this? Full circle story. I don't believe I'm telling this story in ClickFunnels. This is insane. But the day that I thought of the Roach clip, okay, true story, I was walking down the street and saw this girl who was working in my restaurant that I never even got the chance to meet. And I told her the idea for the Roach clip. Okay. Last night I had this idea. I take a cockroach and I put a clip on it. And she's like, no way. She's like, that's so cool. Can I help you? And I was like, yes, I don't have a car. Could you maybe drive me around to get some, like, true story? Okay. So this is the girl that literally helped me put my first business idea together in less than 24 hours. So here I am. Okay. After coming up with this concept for roachclip.com, joining this class on accident, meeting this amazing girl, meeting this amazing professor, creating this project. We're going through this thing. Find out that they both pass. I'm sitting at the bar by myself. Haven't seen this girl forever. She walks out of nowhere into the bar by herself, sits down next to me, and we're like, what in the heck? And she's like, what are you doing? And I told her the story. And she said, Matt, my grandpa, the pastor, always told me that in life, there's something that we're put here to do. And sometimes in life, it's a very grand thing. And sometimes it's a little thing. And sometimes it's something we're supposed to say to somebody, or somebody we need to raise, or whatever that thing is. But sometimes it's just whenever you play that little part in the whole cosmic thing, that's your time. And I just broke down in tears. And I'm just like, I'm like, at this point, it's just like, I feel like I need to actually do this. Cause at that point, it was just this concept that was just drawn out on paper and shared in a class. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting into the internet business and I'm doing this. I am supposed to do this, and I'm going to do this.
That's amazing.
That's so cool. Yeah.
There's these little nudges, right, that happen. And so many of us missed those, what I refer to, I might call it divine rendezvous. Like, God, universe, whoever is putting you into these, situations, oftentimes to see what's Matt going to do with this. Like, here's a little bit.
Yes.
What's he going to go do with it? What can he go
Yes.
create? We're all here to be creators,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's amazing that you kind of line that up, and that's a crazy though sequence of events. Like,
and even, thank you for staying true to like your calling too, right? Because that's what it was, and you could have, like what you've alluded to multiple times, kind of been scared or, not, fear's a compass, right? And not kind of lean into that. And what's the next step? What's the next step, right? Even for us, being God-fearing men, like Chris, what you were just saying, like, here's a test, right? Does Matt pass or does he lean into it, right? Okay, then here's what's next, right? Here's what's next. Congratulations. Like, that's awesome.
Which is interesting because I don't think the answer to that was like, oh, hey dude, guess what? Yeah, it's Roach Clip. It wasn't that product, right?
No, it was just keep going. Yeah. Yep. It's you're on the right
That's
path.
the lesson.
And it's these coincidences, right? It's like when these coincidences happen, to me, I'm a believer that when these coincidences occur, I'm using this air quote for those listening on TV, it's a sign from God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, that you're heading in the right direction. And it's the more frequently that they occur, it's just straight indicator, right? You're like, oh, okay, all right, let's go. I mean, last night I had one that hit me like, I was like, literally the second that I thought of something like, should I do this thing with Chicago? The very second Chicago came on the radio, I'm like, oh, and those things happen, right? And we just kind of brush them off. And maybe sometimes, whatever, but like, I don't know.
But it gets you moving too, right? Like, whether it is like, if you're the person that's sitting there and being like, it's probably coincidence. If you're going to brush that off, then, God might brush you off a little bit and be like, okay, well, if you're not going to stay in tune to this frequency that I'm giving you, it's like, so, hey, you heard Chicago. Here's the deal. If that's God or not, who cares?
Yeah.
Go act on it, because the only way you're going to find out is going and acting on it.
Yep. And guess what? I picked up the phone call and made the call. Right.
That's what I'm talking
about. That's what I mean? Like, I don't question it anymore. So, you want to talk about all-time podcasts that people came in for one thing and got another.
I'm also fired up right now. Like, someone go find me a helmet and a brick wall. Like, I'm ready to run.
Let's go. Yes. Cool.
I love it. Well, dude, we could talk to you all day, but here's what I want to do.
Likewise.
I do want somebody, if they want to be able to find you, tell us where they can go learn more about you, whether it's social media, if it's spot builders. Where's the best place for somebody to go get in your world?
Yeah, I almost said I don't use social media because I'm not really big on it, but I am now on social media, guys. So that's cool.
Well, you invented it, so you should be.
I know, right? You can always go to botbuilders.com. But if you want to learn, I hope it's okay to plug this,
Sure.
webclass.ai. And if you want to just get the fastest scoop on like what's straight line on where you want to go, that's what you do. But I'm so like honored and privileged that you guys had me on this thing, because it's ClickFunnels is like it's industry standard on so many levels, and like you guys, just having met you guys along the way, both super cool, and this is a privilege for me. So thank you for letting me tell my stories. So there's quite a few of those stories that I don't know that I would have ever even saw the light of day publicly, but thank you so much.
People learn from it, man. Thanks for being true and being all heart too. It's people need to hear this stuff too. Like, this is such a big part, is the belief. And listen, just because somebody heard today, hey, you know what? Matt Leitz can do it. I'm like him. He was like me. I'm telling you, this is going to change somebody's life. So thank you for that.
I hope so.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, guys.